Welcome to another broadcast of The Soul of the Everyman on the ArtistFirst Radio Network. All past shows are available in podcast form. You can pick them up at ArtistFirst.com. We welcome your questions and comments by email to dj@ArtistFirst.com. Here they are, your co-hosts, Michael and Margaret Lyons.
And thank you very much, Z-Man, and I am Michael Lyons.
And I'm Margaret.
She is Margaret, and because Margaret is here, everything's going to be okay.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But in fact, tonight we're going to talk about something very interesting, I think, and perhaps you and the listening audience will also think so. But really, the basic precept that we're going to explore tonight is really the commonality of the soul of man, and by man I mean all men, all of us beings on this earth, in the way that we yearn for and express our connection to the all, and it has many names. There's a wonderful saying in I believe it's Tibetan, where the 9,000 names of God, because the all, the creator, the spirit which inhabits all things, the universal presence, has many names in many cultures. But within us is a spark of that. We call it the divine, a spark of the all. And that spark of the all is what engenders our common need in this common dream to connect back. And the ways in which we connect back have a lot of commonality. And so I think what we're exploring here is one of those expressions.
Yes, absolutely. The soul speaks, and it's a language that isn't necessarily verbal, but prayer has become a verbal expression, but it needs to have the heart, the emotion behind it for it to have any kind of meaning. Otherwise, it's just a string of words.
Right. You need the word and the spirit. And I'm reminded of, the wonderful phrase, the word made flesh. The word is also the basis of creation.
Mm-hmm.
Because the word is the crystallized intention. And I think often, Margaret, I like what you just said, because words are just symbols. They're just, phonemes, they're noises, and they require the embodiment, or the empowerment of spirit within them.
Yes.
And we could just jump off into that, but I don't want to go there just yet, because we're getting ahead of ourselves. What we have here tonight, I want to describe, and we'll have it up on the website, is a prayer, a Sioux prayer. I think it's the Atka Sioux, who are one of the larger but still branched tribes of the Sioux, and there were many, many tribes of the Sioux. And so this particular prayer it's ancient, and it speaks to the Sioux's connection to the Great Spirit, which you find in many cultures, in many American Indian cultures, but in many cultures. And it's translated by a gentleman by the name of Chief Yellowlark, which I love his name. And this was in the late 19th century. And I'll let you read it, because you're going to be much better at it than I am. But that's the preface.
Well, one thing I'd like to say is that the Lakota also have a prayer, which is almost word for word. So it's a common prayer. It's like the Our Father in Christian community, where there are variations to certain words, but the heart, the meaning of it, is the core of the prayer.
Right.
All right. O Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the wind, whose breath gives life to the world, hear me. I come to you as one of your many children. I am small and weak. I need your strength and wisdom. May I walk in beauty. Make my eyes ever behold the red and purple sunset. Make my hands respect the things you have made. Make my ears sharp to your voice. Make me wise, so that I may know the things you have taught your children, the lessons you have written in every leaf and rock. Make me strong, not to be superior to my brothers, but to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me ever ready to come to you with straight eyes, so that when life fades like the fading sunset, may my spirit come to you without shame.
And just take a moment to let that kind of resonate in us all, because it has such power and simplicity. This is not a prayer of supplication,
Mm-hmm.
nor is it a prayer of sort of homage. This is truly a prayer of yearning, of connection, of let me connect with you, source, great spirit, source of all life, and open my senses, my ears, my hands, my strength, my body. Open me up to you. Let me embody you, and let the spirit which comes from all work in me. And I think we both twigged on this, and I'll just say it. The most significant thing I found in this was this this idea that the great enemy that you have to be strengthened in order to overcome or to fight against is yourself.
Yes, and that's the commonality of many, many prayers. This is a very old American Indian prayer, said before any kind of English translation. And you can see that it's a connection. A lot of people, which I find fascinating, is that there's a lot of assumption that the different cultures are worshiping some kind of thing. And it's not true. It is understanding that it is that spirit that is inside that they are making connection to. And that commonality runs through the prayers of many, many cultures. It is as old as man, because death is something that man had to deal with from the beginning. And death is the one thing that just makes people go, they just lose everything. They lose sensibility, they lose it. And they don't know what to do, because suddenly they have reached a point that their mind cannot grasp. It can't envelop, like, what is this? And that is where your soul has got to step in, that which is beyond your mind, beyond your thinking, and answer that rising of longing to know the unknown.
Yeah, I'd like to go back just a moment to your earlier point, just to put a finer point on it, in the sense that what you said is exactly true. It's really a conceit of other cultures, and we'll give them the name, these sort of more highly developed cultures, let's say more technological, more quote unquote advanced,
Sophisticated?
Well, but I think that there's this unconscious bias
Yes.
And looking at cultures who had less technological, and assuming that they didn't have the subtleties of spirit, that the heart of a true that a true soul, exactly identical to the one in which you possess today, that their true mind, their body-soul connection was all there, and all the subtleties that we pride ourselves that we have that other... No. The person today is exactly the same as the person 100,000 years ago, with much less technology and much less, perhaps connectivity, but the subtlety, the understanding of that which is beyond, and the grappling at that level with, as you said, death, or with coming to the end of self and realizing that you are small and weak, that you are a child of the many children, that your relationship to this vastness is something which must be explored, and that you have all the philosophical subtleties. This, as you said, is a very ancient prayer, crafted in a language which is completely different and foreign, from roots that are very different and foreign from where we are today, but yet, amazing, it speaks to us identically in the heart. This could have been written today by any great poet, and it would be just as evocative, with different words perhaps, because it's the life force which calls across eternity and has the same subtlety, the same connection. You see here, we see here, the vastness of spirit, the vastness of creation, and the being which connects them both, which is us, in the common dream. We are in the middle. Yes. And purposefully so. The Bible does this wonderful, wonderful image of spirit, of all, of God, of the Great Spirit, whatever, gathering up the stuff of creation, the earth, and then what? Blowing the breath of life into it. And what is that but the most beautiful analogy of that which is dull matter being imbued with the spark of that which is beyond all matter, and then holding the two together in this incredible balance here in the middle, not of heaven, not of earth, but of the middle. And our place in creation is exactly there, and our role in creation is exactly there, to connect the substance with the spirit.
Right.
To have a soul which inhabits a body.
And to be able to understand that the body itself has no life without the breath.
Without the breath.
And the spirit within to animate.
Right.
To ancient man always looked at it and said, there is the body that was breathing and imbued with life just a few moments ago, and then no longer. That is so awe-inspiring. That to say that, it just happens. Life just happens that way. Suddenly there was this combination of proteins and amino acids that come together, and suddenly we have life, and it's like, no, not really.
We have goo, but really handsome goo.
Yeah, no, that was... You do have a soupy mess there, yeah.
But back to this comes from spirit. Prayer comes from spirit, the part of you which is in spirit. But it speaks so beautifully of creation and of the flesh. The first line, O great spirit, whose voice I hear, I hear.
Mm-hmm.
I am the present. I am the presence. I am the being in the winds.
In
The winds are the creation.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, with the ears that you possess, you are able to hear the voice or one of the voices or one of the sounds of creation coming from the Spirit, the Great Spirit, and you witness it. This line, poetry, great poetry, encapsulates itself in every line almost. And so this line encapsulates it all. It says it again and again in different ways, but, "Oh, Great Spirit, that which is all, whose voice I hear in the winds." There it is. It's the key. It unlocks it all right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, his next utterance here, "whose breath gives life to the world." All things which are living, all animals, me, everything else, the breath, as you mentioned, the breath of life. And then this kills me when he says, "hear me." That which is all, the vastness of everything. Why should you care? Because I am part of you. Hear me. It's confidently asked,
Mm-hmm.
like a child to a parent.
Yes.
Hear me, and you're being heard.
Yes. Whenever your child comes to you and goes, "Mommy, mommy," it's like, "Hear me, mommy."
Yes.
Or "Daddy, daddy, daddy, hear me."
Yes.
"Over here, daddy."
And his third line is exactly that. "I come to you as one of your many children." So this relationship isn't just, pawn on a chessboard or some sort of, animated thing, some sort of goo that moves around. It is truly a claiming of parentage and of relationship, a basic relationship. We have the relationship here of parents and children, and who among us will deny our child anything? You will give, you will just without thought give your life in exchange for theirs if you could. And for those of us who have been in that situation, you offer it as often as you can, whether it's accepted or not. You say, "Take me," instead of whomever. And that relationship here, "I come to you as one of your many children," is laying it right out there, confidently saying that I know you're going to listen to me because you are my mother, you are my father, you are my source.
I am yours.
I am yours, and you are mine. That's why when you brought this up this evening, and you said this is just like every prayer you've ever heard in that regard. I am yours and you are mine. I come to you as a child of God, as a child of Source. Mm-hmm. And with all the relationships and the inheritance, the confidence that a child says, "Feed me, take care of me, shelter me, love me.
Love me.
Love me." And all those things come.
Because the next line, "I am small and weak." It's the simple acknowledgement of your state, and compared to that whom you are calling. You are calling your source from which you came.
Right.
I need your strength and wisdom. It's just understanding, I don't know anything down here.
Right.
I need help.
And it's not said in the sense of discovery. It's said in a sense of presence.
Mm-hmm.
I am, which is presence. I am small. I am weak. I'm not asking you to make me different. I'm acknowledging. I'm accepting, as Tolle would say, right?
When you accept what is at this moment right now. It just is. And there's no judgment. It just is. This is what is. And knowing what is, I need your strength and wisdom. Because I don't have it. I know that.
I notice again the duality, Ma. Strength is of the body, and wisdom is of the soul, really. We could say the mind, but I think wisdom is beyond the mind in many ways. It's of the soul.
Yeah, the mind is knowledge.
Mind is knowledge. Wisdom is of the heart, is of the soul. But strength is of the body. And, those two things are different things. Again, the subtlety. This is expressed in a culture that people, unfortunately, in our arrogance, look down upon. Not just this particular culture, but many. They say, "Oh, well, they don't have, they don't have the internet." Well, maybe they did better. But the point being is that the spirit here is the same as your spirit. In fact, in many ways, I would argue that it's greater because it's more real, less fake.
Mm-hmm.
More in touch with what really is, more in being state than we are today.
Mhm. Mhm. I think of the Tibetans who, technologically speaking, they were living in harmony in the harshest of conditions in the Himalayas. And there wasn't a lot of technology, but their soul development and the way they understood themselves and human nature was truly amazing. And what they were able to do in terms of disciplining their soul, their body, their spirit, in tandem with it all, and elevating their experiences. They were walking pathways which they haven't really revealed to the Western world. They are giving the philosophies, but they haven't revealed the pathways that they've walked.
What are those things called? They're like little pyramids, but I forget their name. Where they basically are stupas, yes, and they're basically ascensions into spirit. They end at that point because you're supposed to continue on.
Right. Well, they're supposed to be the way they explain it to the Western mind, representation of the 5 elements of what we see is the 5 elements. But they are translated in that stupa as an understanding that the energy or the soul embodiment within the stupa is radiating outward as an active, energetic point. Many times what they would do is the monks, the great monks, who have been cremated or some article of theirs is stored somewhere within that particular stupa, and it acts as a radiating point for the purity of the life that particular monk had led. So it's constantly elevating the frequency of the world around it.
It's like a witness point.
Yes, and fascinating culture when you go in depth.
But the realness of that, again, it has little to do with, just to say the technological, current modern day appreciation of what's important.
Right.
But I don't want to go too far down that road. But here you see the sentiments that are expressed here would be easily understood, appreciated by the Tibetans in that regard, because they speak to all of us. They're not the reason they're so comfortably familiar, and you hear echoes of them everywhere, is that they are a true reflection of what is within us at the soul level. So these next lines, these next few lines here are just they're beseeching, but it's also very confident in the sense of, may I walk in beauty. Again, a being state. May I walk. In the sense, you're not doing, you are walking in beauty is a being state. You are appreciating everything. Totally goes on and on. Just look at everything around and say, it's so beautiful. Every tiny littlest thing, you can appreciate it. Feel the life in it. Feel the presence in it. That's what this walking in beauty is. Sorry.
There is a prayer also, another American Indian prayer with this. Beauty before me, beauty behind me, beauty to the left of me, beauty to the right of me, beauty above me, beauty below me. I am on the pollen path.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, the pollen path. It is basically a statement of being right in that moment.
And isn't the pollen, the color of pollen is what? It's that golden, buttery golden yellow that you see in the Tibetans' robes. They use the same color to symbolize this great radiant energy, this pollen path. It's wonderful that you came up with that, because that it is the actual state of being when you reach that moment, that pollen path moment. And you can just stay there, right there forever, until your body, what is of your body, just dissolves.
Yeah, pretty much. If according to the Tibetan Buddhist teaching, the great monks are capable of transforming most of their body in the process of death until there is almost nothing left. That's why they have the stupas. It's like whatever little piece is left is put in the stupa.
Stupa. But I love that beauty before that present moment, that pollen path is a piece of this, or one and the same. May I walk in beauty, and then again another being state. I think we've all done this. You see a sunset, and it's breathtaking, but it also stops you. It stops you in your moment of, in a moment of being, and all other things recede into where they should be always, which is of no importance. And you just are one with the moment and watching the sunset. And then, yes, of course, it changes. The red, the purple. But the poet here says, may my eyes ever behold the red and purple sunset. And ever again is a now state. The eternal now is that moment that you realize that the sunset is breathtaking, that it puts you into a different state of being for those moments. They're really timeless moments.
And the red and purple, those two colors, basically harken back to the rainbow and being a completed rainbow.
Yes.
So it is a whole path.
That's very, very subtle. Yeah, the red and the purple are the beginning and the end, the alpha, the omega of the rainbow.
So it's the rings. It's the completion. You have come full circle, but you are at its center.
Let's break there, because we're at the midpoint, and I think let's take the red and the purple sunset back to the studio and have a little break. But we're going to come back and we're going to go more into this great poem.
wait is over. First Blood, Book 2 of the Blood series is out. Your favorite bad boy thief, Dev, is back, and the beautiful and deadly Trey is right there with him. She is sharp, sexy, and full of surprises. Their adventures continue as a new power arises to threaten the world. The heart of creation is under attack, and time is definitely not on their side, as they battle against their enemies' undead hordes. Can they unlock the hidden power that can defeat him, or will his forces draw first blood? Get all 3 installments in the series. Book 0, It's in the Blood. Book 1, Destroyer's Blood, and the new release, Book 2, First Blood, today. Available in ebook and paperback format on Amazon, Kobo, Apple, and most other fine e-tailers.
Rick Riordan fans, love mythology with plenty of action and humor? Destroyer's Blood is for you. The new fantasy novel by award-winning author Michael Lyons is Book 1 of the adventures of Dev Kalian, the Blood series. Follow Dev and his magic sword Betrayer as they are suddenly attacked and forced to return to Olympus to fight in a war they want no part in. The world of men and gods is about to be destroyed by Zeus's ancient foe, and only Dev and Trey can stop him. The conflict never stops, and the amazing twist will have you on the edge of your seat. Act now while the ebook is on sale for only 99 cents. Destroyer's Blood is available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, Kobo, and fine e-tailers everywhere. And while you're there, get the free prequel, It's in the Blood, available for a limited time.
Hi, this is Hannah Ruth from the band Wild Hum. Check out our new Americana Soul CD, Wild Hum, at our website, wildhummusic.com. And you are listening to the ArtistFirst Radio Network. Thank you.
The Fat Man Gets Out of Bed is the latest book from Michael Lyons, the award-winning author of There is a Reaper. Featuring 13 original stories, this wide-ranging collection has everything. Forbidden love, gods versus demigods, weird invading aliens, sexy seductive artificial intelligence, and unusual passion between the living and the dead. All set amidst fantastic worlds of pain and loss and boundless joy. From the sublime to the macabre to the bittersweet, The Fat Man Gets Out of Bed will leave you breathless with laughter, brimming with tears, trembling with suspense. Available now on Amazon.com, Google Play, iTunes, Kobo, and fine e-tailers everywhere.
There is a Reaper is the story of 5-year-old Christopher Aaron and his life-changing struggle with leukemia. Winner of both the Indie Brag Medallion as well as the reader's favorite silver medal for memoir, There is a Reaper has more than 100 Amazon book reviews and a 5-star rating. It has been described as life-changing, spiritual, a must-read. Just released on Audible and iTunes, this memoir is also available in paperback and on Amazon Kindle for only 99 cents. Get your copy of this life-changing memoir today.
Thanks for joining us on The Soul of the Everyman. Back to your hosts, Michael and Margaret Lyons.
Thank you very much, Z-Man. And we've been talking tonight about, and really an ancient prayer of the Lakota Sioux. And it really is, it speaks to the heart of the soul of every man. Okay, I work that in. But I think, I do want to see if we can get through the whole poem. It's the whole prayer, I should say. I say poem, and I don't mean to say that it isn't a prayer. It is a prayer, but it's like Ecclesiastes. It's like many of the poems, the Psalms in the Old Testament. They are really meant to be recited in an oral tradition and sung and remembered. And this is the kind of thing that has some meter and scansion and beauty to it, that it sinks in deep. Margaret last half hour came up with this beautiful memory of the pollen path. It's something that sinks in deep, and it comes up when when you think about these types of thoughts. And we were saying was that the invoker here, the person who is praying this prayer, is asking to be placed into the being state, placed onto the pollen path. And then the next line, the one that we just left off, was, make my hands respect the things that you have made. And isn't that, again, a hearkening back to the body, a hearkening back to the embodiment, my hands, my eyes, I walk, all in the body. And yet, respecting the things that you have made. We're now talking about our relationship to the creation. And this is where I think the subtlety of the American Indian and of this philosophy is lost on people. They say, well, yeah, they were just in harmony with nature. And yes, in the sense that we all have to accept the presence of reality. This is what this really is. And the relationship of respect for the things that are here, that could not be made by us. You know, what one of us can make a stream or an ocean or a tree? And those things which are part of the creation have to be respected. That doesn't mean you don't cut the tree down, but you do it with respect. It doesn't mean you don't take an animal in order to nourish yourself with its life sustenance. It doesn't mean that you can't act within the world and in the world, but the part of you that is hearkening back to Creator is the respect, knowing that this thing which is here is beyond you, beyond your ability to create on your own. If someone had said to you, make a stream, you'd go, this is the biggest one I've got. It's not very edible.
The act that is done with your hands is an expression of the body physical. In other words, respecting what is around you acknowledges the space that is around you. And it's space that was not of your making.
No.
But to be able to put a hand to something with respect is very different than putting a hand to something in anger or thoughtlessness. There is a very distinct difference when someone is just doing something thoughtlessly. You can see the lack of awareness in that moment.
The lack of awareness, exactly.
Awareness brings respect to the things that are around you, but most importantly, to yourself.
Yeah.
To understand that you are extending your hand, it's your hand, out to the various things that are around you. And how do you do that? Because the hand is always connected to the heart. And what is in your heart is usually expressed by your hands. Most people say, well, your words. That's true. But if you want to see the state that your body is in, you watch the way a person handles something. It speaks volumes in ways that you really need no words. All you would have to do is watch. Like watching television, you turn the sound off, and you watch the way a person approaches something or does something. You can see whether or not that being is in the moment or thinking about something else and handling what is there haphazardly or with great care. It is the quality of your life. The way you handle things bespeaks the quality of your life. And once that is made known to your consciousness, you can observe yourself and others in that moment and see where you happen to be in that moment and how you are putting a hand to things.
I would also say, Ma, that you put your hand to things and then they become of you. You imbue not only just how you handle, but what is the product of your hands. When you see makers, we have a good object lesson, and we are having some work done in our house. And you know when someone is making something with great care and with great love, you can see love in the works of your hands. And you say, well, it's just a rock, or it's just a piece of tile, or it's just a whatever. No, because the thing that you see in the maker's product is you see their thoughts, their mind, their heart, their appreciation, their own morality in one way. What is right? What needs to be? What is required of me? How can I make this as good as, these words, as good as I can make it? Well, you see that in observing a maker. You see that in the way that they handle things. And we could go, we could go on and on, but you know when something's done right without knowing how you know, and you know when it's not done right. And that's of the heart and of the vision that you see when you see their hands. So this respect and the reflection of it back upon yourself is key. He then says, he or she says, and my ears, make my ears sharp to your voice. There's a lovely prayer, open, let me hear you, Lord. Let me hear your voice, is in many prayers. And why? Because you want to be not just asking, you want to also be listening. And that, you mentioned it earlier, when you listen, you get things from outside of you that you are both inspired, brought in inspiration. The Spirit comes in, and it comes out through your words and through your actions. So your ears is the physical, but it really is the ears of your soul, which are open. So this gives your again, the senses of the body, the senses of the soul. And then again, he talks, or she talks about wisdom. Make me wise so that I may know the things you have taught your children. So again, the connection to not only all other beings in this creation is here, but that the wisdom that binds us together has a common source. We all can appreciate a great work of art, something which is incredibly inspired, or we all can appreciate a great thought, a great poem. Why? Because we can hear the voice of the divine. We can hear the voice which speaks to the heart in the works, in the words. And that's what's coming in. Make me wise so that I may know the things you have taught your children. And I love this line, Mel. You take this one. This is one of the best lines in the piece.
Yes. Let me learn the lessons you have hidden in every leaf and rock.
Yeah.
Yes. Because every leaf and rock, it refers back to the richness of the creation around us. The leaves, as far as I'm concerned, it's every herb that man uses, the different medicines that are capable of being distilled from these different plants and leaves. And the rock, lessons of the rock.
The rock. That's why I wanted you to do this one. You've always taught the lessons of the rock.
Yes. Yes. The rock is considered, or rocks are considered, the first peoples by the Native American. And it's understanding that that is first creation, the solidness of it. And rocks, the qualities, the minerals, all the things that are hidden in it, as well as crystallization, and the things that we learn from the way things form. And you can only do that because of rock.
The treasures of the earth. I mean, the lesson of the rock, the patience, the
endurance,
the stillness of the rock.
Yes, to learn how to be still. The rock will teach you how to be still.
Yeah.
And most people go, what?
What? And then, again, the leaves and the rocks are, you hear the water babbling over the rocks, it has a voice. You hear the wind sighing through the leaves, it has a voice. All these things, these lessons that have been written, we have this, again, this wonderful, the hand of God writing, the word written. I know we're running long.
No, but just that we are living stone.
Oh, gosh, there you go again.
We are living stone. It's understanding your very bones are stone. That is alive.
Remember the Tower of Babel? It was bricks, which weren't living stone.
Right.
And altars were always made of rough-hewn stone, because it had to be a living stone.
Right.
And to put a sacrifice upon brick was to defile it.
Right. Right.
There's so much there. We can't go into that, but I mean, there's just so much. But you see the commonality. You see this wonderful commonality, these threads that are part of all of us. The next couple of lines are just beautiful. We talked about them in a little bit at the beginning. Make me strong, not to be superior to my brothers, not to be superior to all other creation, because we are not superior. We are all the same. We are all individuals, but we are all the same in the common dream. But to fight my great enemy, myself. And Tolle would say, yes, the enemy, the self which tears itself into pieces and the pain body, the voices in your head, the constant drone of the mind. This is the great enemy. It flies in the face of being, of connection.
Yes. To seek strength so that you may withstand yourself. And
withstand yourself, yes. I can't stand them.
How about that as a prayer? Oh, Lord, I can't stand me.
I can't stand me. I'm such a dope. But you are. I mean, we are our own worst enemies, and we all know that. We embody that which we'd never want to be, and you have to root it out in the being state and in consciousness, in grasping consciousness, in becoming that which is conscious. You fight the great enemy yourself. This constant, the Buddhists. It's these thoughts that arise unbidden, and they're there to distract you. So these things are again being spoken to here. And then the final coda, this lovely last three lines, because now we are in being, and what we say is, make me ever being again, ever ready to come to you. Just, you spoke about earlier, the death. To come back to you with straight eyes. I love that phrase.
And in Lakota, it is clean hands.
clean hands and
straight eyes.
I mean, just beautiful. You know, clean hands. What is that but a analogy for the Egyptians, the Ka and the Bai, coming in with clean hands, with a light soul.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the opposite of straight eyes? Crooked eyes, you know. I mean, that's truly, you know, straight eyes, the eyes of clarity, and clean hands, the hands that don't have the mud of guilt or of shame or blood, and come back to you. You know, we all return, as we say on the Soul of Everyman. I think it's our catchphrase is nobody gets off the planet alive. You know, we return, and we return this way. You know.
Yes. So when life fades, as the fading sunset, my spirit may come without shame.
Yes. And there it is. You know, that really speaks to the life well lived.
And it's also understanding that coming home without shame means that you have come home a hero.
Well, that's Tecumseh, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have your song.
Mm-hmm. So that you may sing your song.
And we talk about, you know, the Eternity Bank, or bringing back your experiences. You're coming back with clean hands, straight eyes, and all that you have done. You know, the life review, the NDEs that people go through. The life review is what you bring back. What did you do? And it's not what you thought you did. It's what you actually did.
It's amazing to come home clean, clear.
You know, the Tibetans have this process of the death and dying. You know more about it than I do. But part of it is in essence finding out how clean, how clear you are, how connected to spirit you are, and then you rise up, and maybe you might not quite get all the way there, but this is the goal. Make me ever ready to come to you. Clean hands and straight eyes.
And it's the acknowledgement, because it is with the infusion of that divine that you're able to come to this point. I'd like to just emphasize that. Even with the Buddhists, I know they talk about all the techniques, but the whole thing is to be clear so that the divine shines through you. Because when they're talking about in the death process, the soul is supposed to leave from one of the 7 energy points that your body has. And ideally, you will leave this body out of the crown chakra. If you leave out of the crown chakra, then you will emerge completely with God. You leave out of the third eye, the 6th chakra, that's when there is a, how do I say this? It's almost as if God is a light, and you have God in a lamp at the 6th chakra. And at the 7th chakra, it is just pure light.
You are the light.
Yes. If you leave out of the 6th, you're still putting human constraints around the concept of God.
You're holding the light. Right.
But the idea is to merge completely without, to understand the fullness of who you actually are.
To eschew form in totally, so you completely dissolve form if you go out the top.
If you can leave through the 7th chakra, the lowest that you can leave the body is the 3rd one and still be born human. If you leave below 3, that's when you start getting reincarnated as animal or tree.
Like a cat, for argument's sake.
Yes.
You know, just to be oddly specific.
But yeah, and it's
Go away, you furry demon.
Stop.
She's
She's
evil.
She's just a cat. She's concerned about her needs. That's what happens when you're coming out of the first and second. It's survival and what you want.
Evil cat. Go away, cat. Evil.
Stop.
All right, just settle down over there.
Stop.
Yes, she's purring.
Yes.
But yes, and yet you see again the echoes of those teachings here. It maybe not. Again, the Tibetans are always, and the Buddhists are always tearing things into bits. It's about the first, the second, the third. That's fine. I think here it's a little bit cleaner.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say that there are many prayers, many hymns. But the one that struck me was "There is a longing," and I'll just read it very quickly. There is a longing in our hearts, O Lord, for you to reveal yourself to us. There is a longing in our hearts for love we only find in you, our God, for justice, for freedom, for mercy. Hear our prayer. In sorrow, in grief, be near. Hear our prayer, O God. For wisdom, for courage, for comfort, hear our prayer. In weakness, in fear, be near. Hear our prayer, O God. And to be there, the call for God to be there in sickness and in death. So we've reached the end of our show.
I think we're gonna bang out on death tonight. But we have reached the end of the show, and it was a wonderful show. Thank you very much again for Margaret being here, because that's what kept everything going nicely. I am Michael Lyons.
And I'm Margaret. And thank you for listening.
Yes.